This is video 110, and for those who are not familiar with it yet, even after 110 videos, this is the United Provinces Empire Total War, played on hard for campaign and hard for battle, which is becoming, as somebody's pointed out recently, my catchphrase. This is the spy in France that we've got. Well, actually it's in Spain. He's approaching France. He's going to go all the way around the southern coast of France, past Marseille, and all the way into Lombardy, which is the last bastion of the Spanish in Europe. Well, it's not actually. There's a couple of other places, but that's the one in the mainland part of Europe, right in the middle and landlocked. Another stupid offer from the Austrians, to which we're going to say Denken Sie wieder. As somebody said, we should be speaking to them in German, so we tell them to think again. They obviously don't want to think again. Thinking about something there. Okay, on to the Spanish move. They've got some massive fleets at the moment, far too big for me to take on, and they've caused me to hide away in the ports, I'm afraid, in the Americas. We're not doing too much better in Europe. We're managing to hold the English Channel, really, that's all. Some time ago we decided to go for the land option rather than the sea option. It does restrict us in some ways, but we're getting some money coming back now from some of these places that we've taken. Yeah. That's an agent detected in my school. And you've also got, by the way, that dung 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 sound, that's nation destroyed. That's the end of Prussia. When you're looking at the instructions, or rather the guidance on how to play the game as the United Provinces, one of the recommendations made is that you quickly ally with Prussia. I don't do. I still research from them, while ever they've got decent military technology, but I find Prussia struggling. In fact, I think it's one of the hardest games to play as well, the Prussian game. It's landlocked. I do like to have some, well, it's not totally landlocked, but almost all. I do really like to have some sea power. It really was a struggle playing as Prussia. Okay, we can now build a church on there. This is the one that the rebels, if you remember, damaged very badly. It would have cost me about 1,200 to repair it as an industrial site. I'm not going to be able to raise money for some time, probably in Tangier, that's Morocco anyway, so might as well just get rid of it and have a church in there. That's my fleet in Brest, bringing them round. If you remember, we're consolidating some of these troops that we've got in France, Spain and Portugal, and bringing them all together down here to Tangier to join up with the troops that had originally taken both Gibraltar and then Morocco. One of the purposes, of course, is to defeat the rebels. Then, with a large fleet around, and the rebels defeated, hopefully, completely wiped out, that's the important thing, we can then move on and take our army elsewhere where it can be of more value. If you remember, I like to force a place to rebel. Once it's rebelled, it becomes much more settled. One thing you'll notice, by the way, is that if you put in a very, very large force to fight an AI battle, or certainly rebels, is they'll deploy right at the back of the battlefield, right next to the red line. So no matter how much you defeat them, slaughter them, attack them from the flanks with cavalry or whatever, they will still get away, and they'll move a long way from your capital. You won't get the repression that you need. It's something like 5 extra points you get, from suppressing rebels. So you'll still end up with that big minus factor against settling the population, and also they'll go around damaging buildings. So it's no good. And in fact, rebels can increase. So while ever you're still in the red, they'll recruit more people. So you end up chasing around the country after bits and bobs of rebels all over the place, so. Anyway, one way to cheat them is to send in a smaller force with a larger force behind it, so that the larger force come on as reinforcements. So if you do need larger forces, I mean, you could always just go on with one unit of horse if you like, you know, and then just keep the rest of your army behind. Trouble with that is it takes a long time for your reinforcements to come on, to organise and everything. It just takes a long time to get your battles sorted out. You're better off really going on with, well, if he's got 5 poor infantry units, just put on 3 very good infantry units and 1 cavalry or 2 cavalry or something, you know, or perhaps a gun. You know, so you've got roughly the same number of units that he's got. It's just that you've got better quality. That way he'll come into the middle of the battlefield, or he'll deploy in the middle of the battlefield, and you've got a chance to wipe him out before he gets to the edges. That gives you an idea of the forces. You can see the reinforcements are there as well. I'm rushing through the start up to the game, of course, and I'm not going to go through the battle. It's a pretty dull battle, really. Just a quick screenshot there for you, and there's the overall results. Like I said, all the reinforcements came on, took a long time, you know, I mean, it's probably 20-30 minute battle or something like that one. And he's got a very uninteresting force to go against as well, so it's not a very interesting battle, really. Easily won. Let's have a look now and see how settled Tangier and Morocco and Gibraltar are. Gibraltar's hard to settle. I'm sending a missionary down to it because I can't build any churches in there, so I'm going to use so basically I'm going to use missionaries to convert it over to, or I should say, as somebody pointed out recently, reform its religion to Protestantism. Now it's a case of rejigging the troops and getting them into a position where we can get some advantages in the settlement, so that we can tax it appropriately, but also so they're in a position as well to be picked up by the ships. Okay, this is my force going towards Andalusia. If you remember, Andalusia is one of my objectives. The little army outside it there. I like to fight armies divided. You've heard the divide and rule principle. So if I go on and attack the capital here, if I attack the army, by the way, the people in the capital will have a choice to come out and help them. They probably will, which means it's easier for me to fight them because they're outside their own city. But it means they'll come on from directly behind that army. If I go between the two of them and attack the town or city directly, it hasn't got any walls, by the way, then I'm right in the middle of the two armies, which is great. So what I've done is I've turned my army completely around and I'm facing that road from the west. On the campaign map you'll see I had a road coming in from the west towards Andalusia, which is in the east, and I'm bang in the middle of both of them. So what I've done is I've turned all my forces around to meet the reinforcing army, and they're coming along this road here. So I've got everything in position as far back as I can have it, because this is effectively the back of the battlefield for me, and I'm now moving them into a position so that we can tackle them best of all. The battle will be in 2 parts. Once we've sorted this part of the battle out, we can then turn around and move up to the other side of the field and attack the other side. It's a neat way of being able to handle an army in 2 parts, so you're not taking the whole force on at once. And of course he's coming on piecemeal because he's coming up a road, so he's coming up in column formation. You'll find that when your reinforcements come on, they come in column formation, so you've got a distinct advantage over them there as well. Okay, here we are, gathering round. We should be able to get some decent flanking fire into them as well. Just pull it all round and then we should be able to finish the battle on the next video.